Yo, 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 what's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host with the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can. And oh yeah, your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the yard streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind, part of Pitts and Sara's wrestling show, where we take no nights off. And obviously, you can't be taking no nights off here. Rewinding Raw in the yard of streams without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
Hi there. What's going on?
Don't do that.
What is this? Do we not like the parade?
No,
like
remember, I don't like that. No, because remember, Tyler Bate does that. I don't like it.
Oh yeah,
it's weird.
Where's he's injured actually.
Yeah,
we didn't know that. But what's going on? Good. How we doing today? 1 to 10.
a 4.
Okay,
It's just one of those days.
Could
It's
be
just one of
worse.
those days. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at like I would say 6. I was at a 6 after coming home from work, but then we took a little nap, took like an hour nap, which was a half-hour nap really, and then I was texting you about it, but I've been watching 6 Feet Under, the Undertaker Mark Calloway pod. It is like him not doing the Undertaker gimmick anymore and just putting it away and really humanizing himself has been such a treat to watch. Because I wasn't the biggest Undertaker fan. If anyone asked me when I was a kid who my favorite wrestler was, the Undertaker would not have been said. But now growing up and I would say expanding my fandom, he's easily far and away in my top 3 greatest of all time. So it's just very interesting how the world changes like that, Sarah. Michelle McCool had some bangers. They had him. He had her on in the interview I was watching, and I forget that she carried that division during that time frame.
Yes, she did. She's underrated for sure. Did you see my private chat, by the way?
I did.
Okay, just making sure. Oh, I didn't see. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So. But yeah, she was incredible, and she was incredible during that time. And honestly, go check it out.
Minus the Piggy James stuff.
So we talked about that on the show, and Michelle would have to go up to Mickey before every promo or interaction that involved that, and she would profusely apologize. It's like, I'm sorry,
it wasn't up to her.
Exactly, and Mickey was so great in the sense that she knew that was not personal. That was Michelle just doing what they.
Well, it was personal from who was writing it.
But it's not personal coming from Michelle, and it could be taken like that, especially in such a world where emotions flare and they get poured out into said storyline. So it was nice to see that. But yeah, let's hear from the peeps.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. We're getting tipped $5 here from the
Thank you.
Fro, which is a yeet. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And then we will start main event girl. You've been in there a little bit. We like the main event girl. Dominic is being in a shark cage of bad blood. Yeah, he's gonna be in one of those shark cages. Sarah, you said this, or we talked about this like last week or something. And I was like, no way. Like, no, they're not gonna know.
I know. I think
and then they fucking did it.
I know. I honestly think that, we joke, or the internet jokes about Triple H listening. I'm like, no, I think he sometimes does like fantasy book based on what fans are saying. Because I don't know that he would have come up with this idea if it hadn't been said on Twitter. Like, I don't know.
The custody of Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah,
the amount of pictures of that I saw, and it was like, our manifestations have become true. It's so funny. I can't believe it's gonna happen. We will talk about it though. Micah's saying what's up to you.
What's up?
Yeah, there it is. Unhinged main event. Unhinged main event Fro tipped us $5, but he also says what up to the peeps. Nathaniel, it is not a Lakers jersey, it's actually a Bruins shirt. So I just like the color yellow. Damien, ayo.
What up? What up?
Bernard was popping. How you doing?
How you doing?
Good to see you. I didn't. Oh, okay.
I know there's a lot of talking today already.
A lot of talking.
Yeah.
This fly is really now. There's 2 flies down here, and it's really fucking irking me.
Ew.
Oh, it's disgusting. I hate it. But yeah, that's what we're hearing from the peep. And now we get to talk about Raw. Sara.
Well, we're gonna talk about a couple things before Raw.
You're
because there's a couple things that kind of tie into Raw, that we're gonna talk about. So the first thing, and I say this ties into Raw just because it came out yesterday.
Well,
whatever,
I mean,
but
it's his show.
Yeah, the Mr. McMahon series on Netflix is supposed to come out tomorrow, and there's been a lot of hype around it, obviously, because Vince McMahon is such a polarizing figure. And Vince then tweeted for the first time in a year and a half.
And it's at least it was
I think I've been in a year and a half, and he tweeted out this lengthy statement basically discrediting the documentary and just saying that there's a lot of false information, blah blah blah. It was then revealed that he tried to buy it off of the people who created it and buy it away from Netflix, which of course they said no. And so that's huge. But then there's also a few early reviews of the series out already, and it's getting mixed reviews. And if you guys remember when we talked about this, when it was like originally talked about that this was going to be coming out this month, I had kind of predicted that this was going to be the case based on the trailer that we saw and who was involved, like who was being interviewed and whatever. And then of course there's going to be stuff that happened so long ago that they're not going to have the capabilities to like legitimately verify certain things and details and stories or whatever. So there are people who are saying it's a great look behind the scenes of WWE and how they came up and how Vince did everything. But then there are reviewers that are also saying that they felt kind of disappointed for the lack of like actually. That's kind of loud. Do you have music playing?
What about that?
Okay, I can't hear it now.
That was loud. Oh, interesting.
It was just maybe it just got picked up.
No, it's my thing is loud. I was trying to hear the TV earlier, so I have a clicker.
Then there are people who are also feeling like they didn't go in enough about the things that people wanted to know, or some more of the controversial parts of what Vince did and whatever. So it's interesting because I think it's going to be interesting to see how wrestling fans react to it. I would say more so WWE fans, because if AEW tribalist fans watch it,
I don't count them. I don't.
I'm gonna say like they're gonna love every second of it because they're gonna love to see WWE painted in a bad light. So I'm curious to see how the reactions are similar or different from the early reviews, and if people have the same issues.
It's going to be very interesting to watch it from a wrestling fan perspective, because the man gave us what we're watching today, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's going to be that mixed with his downfall, essentially. And that's where I've seen the more of the pushback on his end, where he probably didn't want that. I mean, every documentary or whatever that's been made of him has been through WWE Studios. This is an independent person in Netflix, so they're obviously going to be as unbiased as possible. And I could see, obviously, we're not going to be talking about the new charges.
Yeah.
Janelle Grant, I'm pretty sure her name is. We're not going to be hearing about any of that because it is an open case. So
and
for
that is
anyone
something that people need to remember when they're
you
going
need to
into this,
remember it.
because there are going to be people that are going to use that as a reason to discredit this or to say whatever. But it's like, it's literally an open case going on right now. So they cannot legally speak about it. And I just hope that more people are aware of that, or at least go and figure that out before they start putting out their reactions of criticism, because it might deserve a lot of criticism overall, but that can't be a criticism when they literally cannot do it.
Yeah, you can't do it. Like, talk about the Sable stuff. Don't talk about Miss Grant stuff. Like, there's a difference.
It'll be interesting to see if he says anything about Sable when he's close to Brock.
Sable, I mean, you could bring
I'm
up.
just telling you. That's why I'm saying I feel like there's going to be certain
Is Brock
things.
going to be even like? Crazy.
But that Brock, no, Brock won't be in it. But Vince is loyal to Brock, so he might not want to touch that. They might talk about it, but Vince isn't going to have anything to do with it. Like, we won't see clips of him speaking about it, is what I mean. Like, they might talk about certain things, but I would expect that there are going to be moments of his past that he will not have anything to say, and that's what he's said before. There are certain things since he's become a public figure that he refused to talk about, because he doesn't want to paint himself in a bad light. It's like, that's what he's trying to hammer home right now, trying to say there's a difference between the on-screen character of Mr. McMahon and who I really am as Vince. And it's like, no, there's not. As I told you before we went live, those lines were blurred so long ago that he doesn't know where Vince starts and where it ends. He doesn't know where Mr. McMahon is and where he ends. Like, there is no difference. You can't blame your affairs and all of these other things that you've done that have nothing to do with your on-screen character. You cannot say that was Mr. McMahon. And if you are, then why have you not been diagnosed with like multiple personalities or something? Like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting for sure. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of takes over the next, week or so.
The timeline will not be quiet. Timeline will not be quiet.
That's going to dominate for sure. And then the other thing that I wanted to make sure that we talked about before we get into Raw was this has been a hot topic over the last 2 days, was the rumored main event for Bad Blood. That was circulating online. Of course, it's dirt sheets that are claiming it, so it really just depends on what dirt sheets that you trust or whatever. But the current rumor says that it is going to be the tag match with Cody and Roman versus Solo and Jacob, and that is not well received so far. Most people are saying that's ridiculous. The main event should by far be Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk in a Hell in a Cell match. That is a story that has been going on for the last 9 months. There's no reason that shouldn't be the main event. To which then dirt sheets came out today saying, okay, no, actually WWE is claiming the main event isn't solid. They haven't decided yet. And I'm like, no, you're probably still going to go with the bloodline stuff as the main event. You're just trying to get people to like calm down about it. And then it's like, once they're already watching Bad Blood, they're not going to care what the main event is because they're already watching. That's how I feel. I think it's inevitably going to be the main event simply because it's Roman Reigns and it's his first match in 6 months, and they're going to try and hype that up as if that is somehow. I mean, I understand why that's exciting for people, and I'm not saying it's not something that I'm interested in seeing, not just because it's his first match in 6 months, because of that partnership with Cody and it's going against Jacob and Solo. I get it. But if we're talking about storylines, and it depends on how invested fans are in storylines, and that is what Triple H has said. That's why, okay, the Usos versus Sami and Kevin main evented night 1 of WrestleMania 39 because that was the hot story. It wasn't going to be Rhea versus Charlotte, right? Even though that's what people wanted. Triple H is like, no, people are more invested in this. Okay, well, if we're going off that, couldn't you say that people are a little bit more invested in CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell than they are the cage match? Or I'm sorry, the tag match?
It just makes more sense. Okay. I get it. You have to have, or you should have the WWE Undisputed Champion and the biggest name that pretty much carried you with Roman Reigns, the biggest story that's brought you blood. Like, yeah, that's a main event. However, when you think of the now and what is the biggest, hottest story right now, the hottest story right now is not the bloodline. It's still good, but it's not the hottest. The hottest story right now is CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Fans have been craving for them to just get inside Hell in a Cell and beat the living shit out of each other.
And
Both
they promised
men,
it back to
they
back
promised blood.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's in the show's name, so
Yes.
get it, makes sense. I'm glad that we're alluding to it and promising that we're going to see some color. Why not keep that and save that for the main event?
Well, and as we said, it's really weird to think about a match with such a significant stipulation not going on last. Like, that's weird to think about this being a Hell in a Cell match in the middle of the show or the co-main event, and they raise the cage to then do a tag match. Like, this would be a different argument, I think, and I'm not saying I would feel differently, but I think it would be more of a valid argument for people in favor of a Roman Reigns match if it was a singles match. If this was like Cody versus Roman part 3 or whatever, right? And they were doing it at Bad Blood, then you might have an argument to be like, okay, well, it's for the championship. It's the first time they're in the ring again since Mania, whatever. That's an argument. But like in tag matches, you don't even know how much you're going to see from each person involved in the match because it's a tag match. And I guess people are invested, of course, in what is going to happen with Roman and Cody, but like, is that enough to trump what CM Punk and Drew McIntyre have been doing for the last 9 months? I don't think so. I think that's unfair. What are you telling to your talent that has been working their ass off? And granted, Punk had been sidelined for a long time, so I feel like this would be more of a slap in the face to Drew of anything, because I feel like he's done enough, and Punk, now that he's back, has done enough to earn that main event spot at a pay-per-view that's called Bad Blood. It's not Royal Rumble, it's not SummerSlam, it's not WrestleMania, it's not Survivor Series, you know what I mean? It's not one of the big 4. So I don't think that Roman, it's like, oh, just because he's there that automatically means he needs to main event. I don't think that should be a thing, but and I agree with, is it Jackson? Okay, I'm sorry, I can't read. The only way the tag match main events is if there's an angle or something that happens at the end of the match, just like Royal Rumble. But the thing is like, what would that be? What would the angle? And I mean,
that's the only person I could see that it would be like, all right, I get why they're main eventing, but like Jimmy Uso coming back,
I know.
I don't think that needs to be saved for the main event.
Or them introducing another bloodline member. Like, I just don't know. Like, I don't.
Yeah, we don't need that to main event the show.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think, yeah, it's like if The Rock is involved, we won't know that this made sense to be the main event until it happens. And again, it depends on how he gets involved also, because it could be very anticlimactic, and then that's not cool either, you know, because like, I think also everything that comes with a Hell in a Cell match, people are going to be so like into it. They're definitely not going to have it be I feel like they definitely would not have it be a co-main event, because how do you go from adrenaline to another match that you want them to be like that?
So much adrenaline for.
Yeah. Like, are they going to open with it? Are they going to open with the Hell in a Cell?
That would be such a mistake.
I mean, because otherwise they would have to put on like Damian versus Finn next, and I don't want that to happen. But that's not a title match. You know what I mean?
It's not a title match. It's just it's the Monday Night Raw feud, like A story.
Yeah.
A B story within the A story. Like, there's so many different branches.
The story isn't bad. I think that we need to see The Rock's involvement sooner rather than later. I think that is what's going to make it spicier, and that's what people are going to be involved in. I think part of the problem is, and I'm not trying to just add to criticism on Roman, but he hasn't been around.
It's been here.
Yeah, so I think that kind of hurts it too. That was the issue that I had from the beginning of after he lost the title and then them trying to shift over for Solo to kind of like step in his shoes. I didn't like how they did it because I felt like Solo was set up to fail. He needed to have like Roman there or something, whether it was going to start the drama then or not. I think that he would have been better served, not losing a ton of matches before he tried to take over as tribal chief, but he probably would have benefited from Roman being there after Mania, and it didn't. So I think that Roman needs to be there every week. You need to be here and be an active person again. You're not the champion anymore. You can't be taking weeks off and like expect that everybody is going to care. Like you can't
should
do
be taking weeks off when you're the champ anyways.
This I don't think is a bad idea either from Richard. Solo should pin Roman. I kind of I would be interested to see this. I think that they should do that because they let Jay pin Roman, right? I think if they're really trying to like make Solo be a bad guy or a trusted bad guy, then they should let him pin Roman. I feel like if Roman is going to say okay to someone pinning him, he would be okay with one of his family members pinning him.
That's true.
I think that would work. I mean, that's the inevitable, right? And I mean, Rock could even come out at that point and like celebrate with him and whatever, you know what I mean? And be like, haha, see, I told you, like he is the real tribal chief, whatever. I don't know. Okay, so let's move into Raw, and people, we've already kind of briefly talked about it, but we now know that Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley at Bad Blood will have Daddy Dom in a shark cage above the ring, which feels like something that only you would read about in like fan fiction. But no, it's going to be reality. Okay. It's not going to be
so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me.
So when we were talking about stipulations, for this match.
Yep.
This was one of the ones that we were like, okay, we joked about this being something months ago.
We did joke about it though.
Yeah. And I get why they're doing it, but so, okay. Do you have anything that you want to say about this before I move into like something that's related, but not like...
No, because the only thing I really have to say about this like whole interaction that is anything new of sorts is about Dom's reaction to the announcement.
Yeah, I can't go back.
I can't go back. I can't go back. That was without a doubt the funniest thing that happened in that whole segment. And that is why Dominic Mysterio is the best heel in WWE right now. And then on top of that, he's saying he can't go back. Fast forward a little bit, because related here, when Pierce is arguing with Dom and Liv backstage about the stipulation, you hear Pierce go, oh, that you Dom, you've cost yourself, you've interfered yourself into so many matches, women's title matches. He said, no, that's not me, that's Tom. Like, I was dead. As soon as he said that, I was like, all right, this man is a motherfucking genius. Legend. Oh my god, legend in the making.
So, okay, so I have a couple things that I wanted to talk about. I'm writing them down so I don't forget.
Good.
Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about, so to me, okay, yeah, they're making a point of making sure that Dominic can't interfere because he's going to be in a cage. He can't get out, right? Does this make it seem obvious to you Raquel Rodriguez is getting involved?
Yeah, I have a feeling that she could be getting in the mix now.
That is someone that Rhea can't account for that. And Raquel has teased it so many times. She's going to think she's good because Dominic's not going to help her. So who is?
Yeah, but
I have an issue.
Okay, continue.
So this is my issue. Okay, so you and I agree, and we'll talk about this in our prediction video for
next week. Yeah, we still got
a
whole other week before.
Yeah, so we still have the Go Home Raw show to see what they're going to do, but my main issue is we want we agreed that Liv should win this match. We've said that because I forget who else said it, but essentially, if Rhea wins this match and gets the title back, Liv is DOA. Like, there's nothing that Liv and Dom can do. Like, that is the end of the feud, essentially, because what does Liv do from there? It's like, it just kills the storyline.
It does.
And so I don't like that. But also, if Liv wins, I don't want her to win because of an interference. I want her to win hands down with no help, right? The only thing that I would be okay with, since we're talking about Raquel Rodriguez, Raquel comes out, doesn't lay a hand on Rhea, doesn't do anything. She's just a distraction. And that's how Liv wins. That's as far as it goes. I don't want, if Raquel is going to get involved,
to be put on bodies, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't want there to be any question on Liv about winning this match. Because I think that she deserves to be able to retain the championship if that's the plan. She deserves to retain it and look like she can beat Rhea because she has beaten Rhea. This would be the third time, right? Or fourth time that she's beaten Rhea. But because that's a talking point that Rhea even mentioned on Raw, that she's only won because of outside help, I think that they need to prioritize that to make sure that Liv doesn't win that way. And if Raquel is going to get involved, she doesn't have to do anything to Rhea. She doesn't have to touch Rhea. She doesn't have to throw a chair in the ring the way Dom did to help Liv. Like, don't do any of that. Just come out. Rhea will be like, what the hell? And then Liv is able to win off that. That then shifts Liv into different feuds. And then also has Rhea have a new opponent in Raquel, which people have been wanting to see anyway. And they were planning on that before Rhea became a babyface and before Raquel had to be off TV for months. That's the only thing I will accept because I think Liv deserves to have a clean-ish win, if she's going to win.
It just feels like the time is right for Liv to have a somewhat substantial feud with someone outside of Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. I may be just recency bias over it because it's been so in your face for so long, but I would like to see Liv target someone else and have her reign continue where it's not, okay, she's in the mix with Rhea because of that. No, the Liv Morgan revenge story still needs to continue. The Liv Morgan revenge story doesn't end with Rhea Ripley. The whole point of it is that she stays on top and has a Rhea Ripley type reign. That's the whole point of it. You need to end Rhea right now so that Rhea can go do stuff that legitimizes her without the championship.
Well, and the issues that people have with Liv being like, okay, well, she's not even focused on the women's world title. Everything's about Judgment Day, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but what is Rhea focused on that's not involved with the Judgment Day or not involved with Damian Priest? Doesn't she deserve to also be doing her own thing and Damian deserve to be doing his own thing?
Exactly.
So it feels like this would just be the best way for them to go about it because then at least if Rhea's facing Raquel, it's like it's still Judgment Day-esque, obviously, because if she comes out to help Liv, then yeah, it's still involved in the Judgment Day. But this doesn't mean that Liv has to be caught up in facing Rhea again. She could face whoever else, you know what I mean? That to me feels that makes the most sense in my eyes for everybody. And to me, if they can keep this going, I mean, I guess the first pit stop would be to see how they're doing by Royal Rumble. But this is something that I feel like Liv could lose the title at Mania back to Rhea or something. And then it feels like a full circle moment for Rhea too, because she lost the title basically after Mania, know? So if she's able to then do that and highlight Liv at Mania the way that she had been, in the women's title picture for the past two Manias, having Liv be in there with her, that is like pretty, I don't know. I think that would be pretty substantial for Liv and deserving if they're able to continue, being the two top heels on Raw right now.
Yes. Continue that momentum.
Yeah, I'd be so into that. Let's see. Micah believes that you can get this to WrestleMania. I think so too, as long as they keep going. It feels like Liv and Dom are just heat magnets. So as long as they can keep doing what they're doing,
you could have Liv Rhea 3 at Mania and just cool it down, where you have Rhea fight different counterparts, allies of Liv in a way, like, or if you don't want to go that obvious, just make it so that everything that Rhea has to do gets her back to Liv. There's a lot of ways you could do it. I would rather the one that is the less smack in the face obvious.
Yeah.
Don't have Rhea win the Rumble. She already won the Rumble.
Yeah. Well, and she doesn't have to. They can have a SmackDown girl win, just like they did last year. Or they could have a girl on Raw win and pick the SmackDown champion. You know what I mean?
We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen that in a while, actually.
Yeah. And it also will depend on what's going on with Tiffany Stratton, because Nia Jax might not be the champion by Royal Rumble.
I have a bone to pick with that.
Okay, one second.
Bullshit that happened. I'm not gonna say it because
okay,
we're talking Raw, but I'll bring it up as my lemon of the week.
Okay.
Just remind me. But that's my lemon of the week because we didn't get to talk about it on Saturday, but after rewatching it.
Okay. I agree, Richard. I think that it's overhated too. I think that it's actually pretty good, and it's a lot deeper than people just saying it's about Dominic. People want to just say it's two women fighting over a man. That's not what it is. It's a lot deeper than that, given the history between Liv and Rhea. And I think people fall into the cycle of having a short-term memory because that's what wrestling wants you to have. And I understand that to a degree, but we're moving on from that because Triple H is definitely trying to focus more on the long-term storytelling, as we know, because sometimes it is exhausting and it's frustrating and annoying. But this is a feud that goes back years. And it's that should be something that we should be celebrating and be excited about, because then this isn't something that just happened last week and now they're having a match at the next pay-per-view. You know what I mean? That was something Vince was doing. And that was something that we were complaining about, because how invested can you get in a feud that just started a week ago? This is something that's been going back to when they were tagging together. Come on.
Exactly.
Anyway, I already did that. All right. My new name for Sami Zayn, which apparently I can't say it on Twitter because it was getting me hate. I can't say anything on Twitter, guys. So,
why don't you steer into the skid and just go full heel?
Because
why are we not going full heel?
When people start calling me a racist and calling me a hoe, that's when I take an issue, because I don't care. I'm not going to get super into it, but it's making me want to take a break from live tweeting wrestling, because I just didn't. Shocking for people who watch us all the time. Wasn't a huge fan of the Jey Uso thing. Okay. I just happened to say something about it on Twitter, and then it just popped off and people were harassing me. And I'm just all right, God forbid you had a differing opinion. I'm so I said something about Sami Zayn and had to delete that too, because apparently, and I love Sami. But anyway, Super Sami Zayn, that's his name, because I swear to, I've told you, I've said it in here, I think, before.
Super Sami.
He literally is like Super Cena in matches where he's getting his ass kicked for 14 minutes. And in the 15th minute, he comes alive and wins. So that is
very Brady-esque, Sarah.
No, it's Cena. It's like Cena. The thing that people hated about John Cena. That's why they called him Super Cena. They hated it because he would be getting his ass kicked and then he would come back and win.
Last minute.
Sure.
Always finds a way to win.
This was still a really good match, and I was really excited about it for Ludwig Kaiser. And finally, people are still just jumping on the bandwagon with Kaiser. Welcome aboard. But I think the main takeaway was Gunther coming out in his gear, looking like the man was ready to get in a match for the World Heavyweight title against Sami Zayn, only to be I just wanted to come out here and tell you, no, and just walks away. And I was like, this motherfucker is a king. I love this story between him and Sami. I am obsessed. I assume that next week is going to change it. They're probably going to add it to Bad Blood. Also, wouldn't be shocked if they just had it on a random fucking Raw. because that's what they do with Gunther for some reason. They have him defend titles on Raw more so than they do on PLEs. But I'm obsessed. It's making me a little bit more invested in this match because I didn't love the Sami ascension to the top to be in this spot, but given the current storylines and Gunther doesn't really have anyone else to face right now, like I'm like, okay. So I'm just waiting to see how we get to a point where Gunther agrees to it, or if Adam Pearce forces it. I don't know.
You bring up a good point. I'm trying to
Because
get to the point where Sami could do something, either
what would
piss
he
off Gunther to the point where he, disrespects him or something, or it could be all Gunther's game where he's just trying to lure Sami into whatever match type he wants. So he's getting him so boiled and furious and every other adjective like that. That's what it seems like to me. With Adam Pearce forcing it on Gunther, that seems weak. That actually to me would bring down Gunther.
Well, okay, so the only reason I mention that is because, one, how much power does Gunther really have in dictating his matches? If there's a general manager.
I honestly thought you were going to say how much power does Adam Pearce have, and I was about to tell you legit 0.
No, I'm going to say, but like we're supposed to believe that the general manager signs off on matches or creates matches based on what
absolutely.
he sees.
Yeah,
so
I get
it's
what
like,
you mean,
so
yeah.
Is Gunther really allowed to dictate who he faces and who he doesn't face? Like, I don't know. But I think if he continues to say no, I just wouldn't be surprised if he does that. I mean, look at what he did. He's the reason why there's going to be a cage above the ring with Dominic Mysterio in it. So that's what I'm saying. It's like Sami just has to go to talk to Adam Pearce to be like, hey, I think I deserve this match. I beat Kaiser. I did this. Like, can I have it? I could see Pearce saying yeah, because like what I mean, okay, so I love what Gunther is doing because it's like the reverse psychology thing. Like he's done this before, so I love it. But it's also like, what does Sami have to do for Gunther to change his mind? And that's the thing, is we have one more show before Bad Blood. And this, so far, there's 4 matches on Bad Blood. So this could be the 5th. But how do we get there is what I'm curious about. Like, how do we get to that point that Gunther is like, yep, we'll do it.
It is the only match that's left to be announced that would make sense, that has to do with the theme of the show, because there's definitely bad blood between those two dating back to even before WrestleMania. So I would love to see Gunther on a PLE. We don't get it a lot, so
yeah. I'm interested. Like, I thought, I don't know, Gunther is brilliant. Okay, there's a reason why
look at that jacket.
The only action figures that I have. Okay, he's
Gunther,
I'm just obsessed. And he's such a good troll, like coming out there looking like he was ready to go and like saying, oh, no better place to do this than in California, and it's like, LOL, just kidding, I'm just telling you no. I just thought that was funny.
King shit.
Yeah. Also, American Made going full We the People. Okay.
I saw Team Angle.
I'm seeing a mix, okay? Because when you adorn yourself an American flag,
it was all Karrion Angle singlets.
But he's not an Olympian. Julius. No, he literally was caped with an American flag. I'm saying, like, what's going on? I guess I'm just confused about this because, like, Chad Gable, Remy, are you kidding? Is this what we're gonna do? Really? You're just gonna really? Okay. Whatever. I'll have you know that she does this during meetings. Also, she like puts her asshole in the camera, and I'm like,
I just am dying as you're talking about American Made being another version of Team Angle, We the People, whatever, and Remy just sticks her tail like, yeah, nobody.
No one's
like, Remy, I kind of want to hear this.
Yeah,
the champ wants to hear what this is. I'm fascinated.
Okay, so
what do you mean by this?
I'm just kind of confused about what American Made is supposed to be, and maybe I'm just an idiot. I don't know, but like, we know that Chad Gable is an Olympian. And the whole thing was it was supposed to be built around him. I'm just confused about the like super pro America thing that they've now become. Like everything is red, white, and blue. There are flags. Ivy's got blue and red in her braids. Like I'm just confused about going so hardcore America that's what makes it feel like we the people. Because
it's
it's
part
like
of wrestling.
I mean, I don't know.
That's just you have to have that historically in wrestling. You have to have like an over the top patriot who loves America, whatever. And I mean, it just makes sense. Chad Gable's gimmick as an Olympian. You have all these wrestling athletes, like they give that vibe. I'm for it. I would like to see the Creed brothers have a little bit more personality. Or if you're not gonna have them have more personality, at least make them beat the shit out of their opponent.
Having more personality is great. Trying to make that laugh into a thing, Brutus, not cute. The laugh isn't funny. It's not. That should not be your thing. It's like you did it in that vignette or whatever that they showed about them like training in the swamp and whatever the fuck they were doing. Like, and then he was like, ah, ha, 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 ha. It's like we don't need Brutus. Save that for another time. That doesn't need to be a part of your gimmick because it also doesn't make any sense. What are you? I don't get it. I don't get it.
What laughing at.
I don't like it. Also, I think it was too cringe. It was cringy. I don't like it. I don't like to cringe. Okay, I just don't. Also, Karrion Kross continues to be in the Miz's ear.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
What do you think the end game is? So the thing is, okay, before we get into that, we have been long supporters of Karrion Kross.
Oh, we stand Karrion Kross on this show.
Trying to give him like chance after chance after chance. Just like waiting for something to hit, right?
Yes.
And we have said that we want this to hit because it feels like this is Karrion Kross's lane. Like everything about this gimmick is the vibe. It fits him so perfectly, and it's not like too gimmicky. It's not like too far out of like probably who he is as a real guy, and that's what can be good. So I'm glad that he's still on TV, even if it's just in a quick little backstage segment like this with the Miz, where it was literally like 60 seconds or whatever. But I'm curious your thoughts because I have no idea. So that's why I wanted to ask. What do you think the end game is with the Miz? Because we've seen Karrion in recent months going after guys that are in a tag team or something, or guys that are like in a group and like trying to split them up and like whatever. Hence the whole thing with the New Day. The Miz is not doing that right now. So it's like
the end goal with Karrion Kross and the Miz is for Karrion Kross to kick the Miz off the ledge and go back to what made him the Miz originally.
So
be that absolute dick. Be that man who he did not only demands the WWE title or World Heavyweight title, whatever it may be, but deserves it. He's the Miz and he's fucking awesome. Like that's where Karrion Kross is fitting into this because the Miz is just floating. He's just the Miz who has been around. He's a lot like veteran, whatever, but he's not really doing much. And Karrion Kross is one of the best, I would say, long-term characters that the product has right now, because everything, if you actually have been paying attention, he's the only one that everything that happens after a feud, like it makes sense. Everyone he is feuded with has now got a little darker, as we're obviously going to talk about with the New Day and Xavier Woods experiencing that. You had before then Drew McIntyre. People forget he was in a strap match with Karrion Kross before he was in one with CM Punk. Lost it, and then went on this tirade. Like, there's so many different examples from this. If the Miz is just going to be another example of this, I'm for it. We haven't seen a a true asshole Miz in a long time. And
Yeah.
honestly, I kind of want to see it.
You
I'm
know
here
what is
for it.
crazy too is I don't like you don't have to be a big fan of the Miz, and I've never been like a super big fan of the Miz. Like I met him and he was super nice, and obviously I watched him on the Real World because I'm that old that I actually watched him on the Real World. So like I've known about him forever, and I respect what he does, obviously. But I don't think that people give him enough credit for being one of the very few people who has never had a character change. He's been the Miz for 20 years. And the foundation of who the Miz is has never changed. That is not something that happens very often. Like the most recent example that I can think of that has lasted like more than a decade or, much more than a decade is John Cena. He's the only one that like once he became a baby face and was like, never give up, you can't see me, blah, 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 blah. And he stuck to that and he's still to that. It's the only guy in recent memory that, especially in the same era as The Miz, that never swayed from that. That's impressive because like look at like Mick Foley. There's a reason he had to be Mick Foley and Mankind and Cactus Jack and Dude Love. You know what I mean? It's like because they had to reinvent themselves in order to stay relevant or to get the fans to be invested in them.
Yeah.
And the Miz has never had to do that other than going from babyface to heel, but it was always I'm the Miz and like I'm awesome. And it's like you either love me or you hate me. That was the only thing that's changed. And I think that's pretty cool. That says a lot about how talented somebody can be to pull off the same character both ways, that they don't have to become like a alter ego for you to like hate them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Seth Rollins is another example of that because of the Shield. You have the Monday Night Messiah, the whole Night King thing, the Authority era of Rollins. So yeah, Seth Rollins has been Seth Rollins still, but he's had different versions of himself. Where the Miz, he hasn't had different versions of himself. It's just himself turned up to either 11 or 2.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like he's just like living his life based on or being the character based on his life. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. I think that's pretty cool.
Be cool.
The Miz isn't really needed as a babyface anymore. He fought Gunther and won the tag belts. He can be a mid-card chicken shit heel again. Could be a good guy for Jey Uso to go against also because they need more heels to go up against Jey Uso also.
Yeah, that'd be good too. Oh, you know what would be a really good one a couple down the line? I just thought of this. Would be Xavier Woods.
Yeah. I mean, and that would be good because obviously he hasn't won a singles title either. So
yeah, exactly. And why not? Why Jay? Why is Jay getting these opportunities and not me? All right. It's feeding into the Karrion Kross once again.
So Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman is just continuing on. We saw it at the very beginning as Liv and Daddy Dom were arriving at the arena.
This was awesome.
And then the match never really happened. And it ended up being, didn't we predict this? Didn't we say that this was a match that should be like a last man standing or something? Didn't we say something like that? I'm pretty sure we did.
I'm going to say yes, we did say that this should end in a last man standing. However, I do remember you saying that we're not going to see a winner in this match.
In the last man standing?
Wait, never mind. Back up. We were talking about the Miz he was supposed to face. See, that's the thing. Related.
Okay.
Last night the Miz was supposed to face Bronson Reed.
Mm-hmm.
And Karrion Kross was in his ear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you think that, but because Braun Strowman interfered, they fought beforehand. As the casual viewer, whatever, you just think that they fought all night once again. So the build's been perfect to the point where the only reasonable match type for this to end in would be not a last man standing, but a last monster standing. And then the vignette that played latter half of Raw after this was announced. Like,
Mhm.
brilliant. Well done to hype this up. And
I
back to what I said in an earlier video, I want to see this go all over the goddamn arena.
Well, and I think that's what I mean. Like, I think we kind of talked about it being something like this, like a last man standing match, because that allows them to go anywhere. That allows it to not be any disqualifications. It allows them to use weapons and to do whatever they want, as opposed to just being like, it's a cage match or it's a no disqualification or whatever. It's like, no, this allows them to do basically whatever they want, which they have been doing. Obviously, they were fighting all over the arena on Raw. So I am excited about this because I don't know. I love Bronson Reed. No disrespect to Braun Strowman. I mean, power to you, guy. But like, I've just never been a Braun Strowman fan.
Hurrah!
Yeah, no. But I just love everything that Bronson Reed is doing, and I want to keep seeing it. So I'm like, I love that he's actually in a feud that you don't even really know what the basis of it is. It's just like, I just I decided to attack you because you're another big guy and I just want to assert my dominance. Like, that's like what it is. I don't think they even really know what they're fighting about. They just like see each other and it's like seeing red. So it's like
alpha. That's
yeah.
what it is.
And so I'm really excited because I think this could be really good, and I appreciate WWE's recent focus on these like meaty man matches, because these are something that
man matches.
Yeah, because these are things that we have talked about enjoying and not feeling we got enough of them. And now we're seeing it a lot, and it's two guys that can wrestle and are strong and like can do crazy stuff. It's not just like Big Show versus the Great Khali where they're just like slowly moving and
they can move.
Yeah, and so I think that's what makes this a little bit more exciting, even for somebody who might not be, like a fan of Braun or Bronson. They might not care about either of them, but like they're gonna see this match and be like, damn, so I think that's pretty cool.
A fan was thrown. Okay,
I know. Did you see that he was fined?
Yeah, for throwing a fan. That is the greatest fine in any sports.
It was like for throwing a human male or something like that. It was like the wording of it was so ridiculous.
It's so funny. Like, it's just that's what we're getting with this feud. Like, yeah, I want to see multiple people get thrown. Like, security guards are being treated like jobbers. They're just getting tsunamied. They're getting squashed. Like, no one is safe between these two monsters.
What I love too is that this is a feud that can go on for years. Like, it's not something that has to be active, but it's like if the two of these guys end up in the Royal Rumble at the same time, you know what I mean? It's like you're just going to automatically, like, your brain is going to go back to this. And it's like, I love that. That's something that we don't get a lot of anymore. You know what I mean? So, I like that they could do that. And I think that this could be a really good match.
Like, feed me Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed being the wrestling equivalent of Peter Griffin in the chicken fight. Oh, yeah. I don't care. Like, I want to see that all the time. Pay-per-views, just make it happen.
And yeah, the Godzilla versus King Kong graphics, they were pretty cool.
Dude, that's how you mix marketing.
Yeah, it's a good way to sell the last monster standing also. But anyway, Drew McIntyre was back on Raw. And hey, Roxanne even knows that she should have been a fan of Drew McIntyre, okay?
Roxy's wrong.
No. And he had a somber promo of his own, which I loved because it kind of felt like, okay, yeah, no, we needed to see like this side from Drew as well, but it also could be interpreted as like him kind of mocking Punk, which I love because he was out there being like, oh, my family didn't want me to do this, blah 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 blah, and then Drew comes out and talks like exactly the same, talking the same points that he brought up last week. I don't know, you could interpret it as kind of like mocking him, but yeah, I think that I don't love all these talking segments, but as I've said before, it felt like there's not a whole lot more that these two can say or do until this match happens. And then they are, there's a cap on it for the time being until they probably meet up again at the Royal Rumble or something. So this wasn't like a fantastic promo. Neither was Punk's, in my opinion, but like it did a job. And I think it's like, okay, I mean, you're just waiting for the Hell in a Cell match. That's basically like, we just need to fast forward to that because there's nothing else that can be said or done at this point. You just want to see that.
We're not here to break down both promos. They happened.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to tell you that we need the match to happen. All right. Like, we're as on the edge of our seats as possible. I mean, even a contract signing next week would not do anything. Like, what do you do next week in the go home show? Like, that's like, at this point, I just want to see these dudes beat each other up. I don't care about words. This is the final chapter. Just give me the end game battle. That's all I need.
Yeah, I think they're going to deliver. And I'm really excited about it. I'm curious to see how far they're going to go also, because there's rumors about WWE being less hesitant about blood. So I don't want things to get super bloody because I just like, not that I get queasy, but like sometimes it's just like, oh, I just can't. You know what I mean?
You ain't a fan of those death matches then?
No, I don't like.
Yeah. Oh,
no,
that's a
I
different.
don't. No.
That's my neck of the woods.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how far it's going to go. And obviously it'll be more interesting once it's on Netflix because there are going to be like a lot of barriers lifted, obviously. So how far they push it there, I think is going to be interesting. But I think that because this is such a heated rivalry, such a deep, long drawn out feud, and this is presumably the final match, at least for now, it feels like it does need to go pretty far, like not Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page far. But
I don't think WWE can legally do that.
No, and I know I'm just making
I don't think we're going to see any cinder blocks
or injections.
Of needles. People forget.
Yeah.
Wow,
so
that was real.
Yeah,
real.
I'm just ready for it. So Taman says we don't need all the blood. I've seen enough blood matches in the last 40 years to last me a lifetime. I know, that's what I mean. Like a little blood if it happens, sure, because it's a Hell of a Cell match. But like it's like, someone posted that one picture of Punk from when he was in A&W and his entire face was covered in blood. Like I don't need that, unless that organically happened. You know what I mean? Like when Edge threw the ladder at Finn's face at Mania and busted him open, like that.
Stitches.
Yeah, and it's like that was just an accident. So if it's something like that happens, then sure. But I don't want them like blading and like getting so bloody that it's like hard to watch. Like I don't want that. They did promise blood. I'm sure it's going to happen because it's a Hell in a Cell match. But I'm just hoping that it doesn't get to the point of like, oh, what is happening? You know what I mean? Like where they can't show you it again on Raw unless it's in black and white and it's only images. Yeah. I don't want it to be that bad.
I yield. I don't care. I want to see it. I can't be like, yeah, I agree, because I want to see like.
No, I get it. I mean, and I feel like
I want to see a Crimson Mask.
I feel like if there is a match that makes sense for it, it's that one, but we'll see. So moving on. So we see the New Day and they are in a match against, who are they against again? Who Xavier was against? Who was
Why can't
I can't remember. Who are they against?
Why am I fucking blanking?
I don't know. Does anyone in the chat remember? Someone tell us. I can't remember. Who are they against? Oh yeah, no thumbtacks either. Oh my god, that girl who did like a split on the thumbtacks in AEW.
Oh, Chris Statlander?
No.
Oh, I love that. I like thumbtacks.
Mm-mm.
I think it adds.
Okay, guys, who
Who
was the
are
New
they?
Day
No,
against?
this is like really irking me, and I
I
obviously
don't
could look it up,
remember.
but no, I want to use my memory. No.
Why can't
Was
I
it?
even? I don't remember.
It wasn't Judgment Day.
No. Oh, it was Judgment Day?
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Was it Carlito and?
No, it was Dom. Was it Dom and JD? No.
Fuck it.
Finn.
I'm
No,
so
Finn.
annoyed.
Finn wasn't on Raw.
Finn wasn't on Raw this week.
Yeah, no, because
They faced American Made.
Oh yes,
We already
that's
talked
right.
about
Yes,
American
yes,
Made.
yes,
That's
yes,
why
yes.
it like
Okay.
went out of my brain.
Okay, yeah, I could not remember for the life of me. All right. Anyway, so after that match, Xavier and Kofi are in the back, and Xavier is still hot. Obviously, he is not thrilled about everything that is going on still. And the LWO come up, and little Rey Mysterio is like, I just wanted to tell you guys that we're sorry, blah, 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 about what happened last week. And Xavier wants to hear none of it. He's like, you know what, LWO?
He was pissed.
Yeah, take your asses out of here. I want nothing to do with you, troll, blah, blah, blah. And Rey is trying to be the good guy, like he is, and is like, okay, like I understand that you're upset, whatever. And Xavier's like, fuck you. And it was like, whoa, what?
Yeah,
And
you got really in his like you should go to you give this advice to your
I know.
to Dom. I was like, whoa, what the hell, man?
I know.
And this was before too, when he wanted to get a New Day reunion, and the dude with the pancakes and Kofi's like, no, like
yeah.
Kofi's trying to make amends, and Xavier is just he's dark. Like if there was any indication of which one of them would be the one if so turns heel,
Is Woods.
it's Woods.
Yeah,
After last night,
we talked about this last week and said it's possible that it could be Kofi, and I think that would be like the ultimate swerve because everything looks like it would be Xavier. So if they were really trying to do a shock value, then they would go with Kofi. But it seems more and more every week that it's going to be Xavier because now he's going to face Rey Mysterio next week on Raw. So if they weren't going to be turning that guy heel, they would not be having him go against one of the biggest baby faces the company has ever had. So
yeah, he might beat him like to a pulp. Like that's gonna be a brutal match on
I'm intrigued by it though because it is so different and it's like it's not I think I like the development of this or the progression of the storyline post Odyssey Jones because I feel like there were a lot of concerns about the addition of him being the reason why the New Day broke up. This feels like okay, Xavier turns heel or whatever. That it's not necessarily him breaking up the New Day. You know what I mean? It's more so like he's making it more about that he's not good enough.
him.
You know?
Yeah, it's a me issue.
It's an insecurity that he has that's kind of like showing itself now. And I think that's a better way to go about it than what it looked like they were going to do with Odyssey Jones, because then that kind of felt like, how do you bring back the New Day? You know what I mean? If you break them up because of this or whatever. This doesn't feel like that to me. And this does put him in line to go after like the Intercontinental title or something, because he's like, never won a singles championship. And yeah, he's mentioned not being a world champion, but obviously they're not going to feed him to Gunther for the world heavyweight title. Not yet anyway. I don't know. I think it's interesting. It's one of the more interesting storylines that you kind of can't really predict at this point. So I think that's what makes it a little bit more interesting.
I love storylines where I don't have to predict it and I can't predict it. So in this case, I love it. I have no idea where it's going. When are they going to do it? I'm intrigued. I said this from the jump, Sarah. This is why people need to trust me more. Here, give me my title back because I need to put this on. Because what did I say months ago? Okay, here. How you doing? Months ago, when Karrion Kross started chirping in Xavier Woods' ear, I said it's going to be a great Raw story. What does it become? Say it with me. A great Raw story. Yes, thank you. There we go.
Yeah. So we'll see. Also very random, but I hadn't talked to you about it. Can you believe this man is a dad?
Hey, he's a dad, and the other one's married.
I know that's not I mean,
No,
yeah,
but they no, like just like it's crazy, like
yeah. In
baby
the
for
same
one, and then
weekend.
just that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
He's a
Guess what?
daddy. He's a daddy. He's officially a
I'm
daddy.
sorry, the face. He's like
Yeah.
he's a dad. He's like
Yeah, he's got the thing. I have his face to go with that. Okay, quickly. The Viking Raiders are coming back.
nailed it.
Finally.
Not nailed it as I called it, but when the graphic came up,
I missed
everyone, I was so happy that I was right about this because everyone was like, "Oh, it's a Wyatt Six or it's Penta and Ray Phoenix." I'm
it. They're
like,
still
first
under
off,
contract, so
yeah, we got to read better. I knew immediately, and not because of the reason that everyone else got it, because if you do it, you know, the detailed way is those letters that were lit up. Those are Viking letters or whatever term. I knew it because it looked like antlers. And I just remember Valhalla with the antlers,
She's
courtesy of Michael
pregnant
Cole.
though. I think she's pregnant, so she can't come back right now. But
Well, I just saw antlers.
yeah,
So when I saw the antlers, I went boom, Viking Raiders. So
it's about time.
it's
I mean,
nonsense logic, but good to
it's
say.
about time that Ivar comes back because we've missed him. But it's also good potentially that this means that Eric is coming back because he's been gone for a long time dealing with issues, injuries, whatever. Man's got to have another baby also apparently, so this man needs to come back and make some money. I'm just excited because I just want to see Ivar. You know, he's another meaty man that we love to watch. Oh my god, imagine him in the Braun and Bronson match.
Oh my god.
Don't even.
I'm telling you, WrestleMania needs a meat match. I don't
Yes.
care how. It just needs to happen. Maybe
Didn't
reinforce
AEW
the
do
ring.
that though?
No, they tried and canceled it so
Oh,
Chris
okay.
Jericho could get on the show.
But still, they were trying to call it like the meaty match or
Yeah,
whatever.
it wasn't as WWE terminology as
Mm.
that, but it was alluding to like meat, like the meat madness or something. Like yes.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic. I am not. For a second, when I quickly read this because I'm blind, I thought it said, "Aren't you a man?" And I was like, "Sir?"
Nope.
No, I am not a mom. I'm not. I'm not. But yeah. Moving on to the main event. So I don't know that anyone predicted this. We saw that Jey Uso was going to go against Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship, and they got about 15-20 minutes for the main event. And Jey Uso shocked the world and got the 1-2-3 over Braun Breaker to win his first singles title and become the Intercontinental Champion. And it looks like everyone was pretty happy about that.
I wasn't, okay, because I'm a big Braun Breaker fan, but Sarah, I will say this.
Hold on. Do you want to know something? Because of this, I've become a Braun Breaker fan.
Oh.
Never thought I would see the day.
Okay, look at that.
I know. But
I get why. I get why they did it in retrospect. After it's all said and done, and throughout the show, they were dropping little hints that it was going to happen. Braun Breaker saying that he's going to be he'll be champion for a very long time. Anytime that is said on camera, that's dramatic irony, guys. Like he's alluding to a bigger payoff that he is going to be on the receiving end of. I mean, the entire arena on Jey Uso's side and the mat. I mean, I was hopeful when Jey hit the first splash and it was the false finish, and the crowd, you could hear the sighs, the breath come out of the crowd. They were stunned. And then for him to do it and finally get the win, the interview afterwards was very touching with Jackie Redmond. And it seems to me they wanted to put the Intercontinental title on him, obviously to give him his due, but also he is the most over baby face. That's not Cody Rhodes, obviously, in the company right now. He has the one entrance. He has an entrance where everyone is on their feet, yeeting and doing this. I mean, all the fans love Jey Uso. They want to get behind that champion and see him finally have a singles run as champion. And I get it in that regard. You want to put a championship on the man who is the most over with the crowd on said show. Sure. Do I agree with the decision? No. I would have liked to see a little bit more from Braun Breaker as champion for a little bit. But I also can understand that it's not the end of Braun Breaker at all. It's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, you could launch him up and have him face Gunther at some point, maybe not. I don't know, but I can understand that one, you just want to do it to put the title on Jey Uso, most beloved member of the Raw roster at this point by the general fans. And two, it's not the end for Braun Breaker. Like, he's not gonna be buried because of this. He's not going to, lose momentum or whatnot. It's only going to make him a more ferocious heel at the end of the day, which is exactly what he needs to elevate himself on the show.
So I have a few points, and I'm not even going to. Remy, please stop. I'm not even going to talk about Jey Uso specifically because I'm not trying to get roasted by anybody, because apparently if you don't like Jey Uso, then you're just an idiot, you're a hoe, and whatever else you can call me. So I have 3 points about this. One, maybe this is just irony, but it's very ironic to me, and it was pissing me off because I remember so many times we have, not just in general, people will talk about people going after titles, or whether they have a title match or they should have a title match, whatever, right? And one of the things that people get so mad about is people saying that someone deserves a title. Everybody was saying that Jey deserved this. What irritates me about that is it depends on who we're talking about when that's okay to say. Because does Jey deserve it? Sure, if that's your argument. I don't necessarily agree, but you could make an argument that sure, yeah, he's been around, he's paid his dues, whatever. But why is it wrong when we say it about somebody else that people aren't a fan of? Because when we were talking about Gunther and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, he deserves to be world heavyweight champion. Why were people mad about people saying that? Why would you be mad about someone saying that Gunther deserved to be world heavyweight champion? He doesn't deserve it. No one deserves anything. Really?
You're hypocrites. It's the fickle pickle, Sara.
You're one of the people saying Jey Uso deserved to be Intercontinental Champion. So what's the difference here? Is it just because it's his first title? All right, well, let's think about it. He's been in WWE how many years? 14, 15 years? How many of those years was he in a tag team? So there's an argument. Like I said, I'm not getting too into it. However, that just frustrates me because it's like there are people who deserve titles, and there are plenty of people throughout WWE history that deserve to be world champion and were never world champion, and they deserve to be world champion, but they never were. But it's like, but it's okay to say that they deserved it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such a silly talking point. The second point is, I wonder how this plays into the scenario that everybody thought was going to happen with Jey Uso, was him getting back involved in the bloodline. This looks like he's not going to be involved for at least a couple months because they can't move him to SmackDown as Intercontinental Champion. So that's interesting because I thought that he would at least get involved. I mean, around Survivor Series. I mean, I guess he still could be, but like, I would be interested to see how they would be able to work him into being on like Roman's team and not be on SmackDown. You know what I mean? Especially because people were talking about that they thought maybe Sami would get involved in that match. Well, they're not going to have like multiple guys from Raw going over to SmackDown. You know what I mean? We'll see about that. But then this is another point. And this doesn't have to do with Jey Uso specifically. It just is a point, and I'm going to talk about it because I hate it. I don't love super duper duper ridiculously long title reigns, but I have an issue with hot potato titles. And the Intercontinental title to me is on path to becoming a hot potato title. And I hate that because Gunther was champion for 666 days. He made that title almost bigger or more valuable or more desirable than the world heavyweight title, especially because it was introduced while he was champion. And it was new. So it was like, do people really want to go for this? Because it doesn't hold as much weight as the Universal title, blah, blah, blah. He loses it to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. Sami Zayn holds it for less than 3 months. Loses it to Braun Breaker at SummerSlam. Braun Breaker holds the title for 51 days. Not even he holds it for one pay-per-view and didn't even fight for it at that pay-per-view. Loses it to Jey Uso. The main point that people think now is Jay's probably only going to hold it for 2 months, maybe 3 months, maybe, and inevitably give it back to Braun Breaker. I hate it. I hate it.
I don't think 2-3 months is that long. That's short of a.
That's a short title reign. But the reason why I hate it is because once you start changing titles, and this is my opinion, and apparently I'm a fucking idiot for thinking it, according to people on Twitter. But to me,
Twitter sucks.
Longevity of title runs doesn't necessarily define a title reign. However, if you have a title for 2 weeks, are people going to remember your title reign? No. So title length, like reign length, does matter. Like, I just think that's a kind of a dumb point. But what I don't like when titles become a hot potato, because then it doesn't, to me, it devalues the championship. So for me, it feels like Gunther made it this championship that was so coveted and you couldn't beat him. And then it was like, oh my God, Sami finally beat Gunther as no one else could, you know? Then he gets beaten by Braun Breaker. Braun can't be beaten because he's only been pinned twice in his career. And then he's beaten by Jey Uso the first time for the title. And then we're already talking about how Jey might not even hold the title for a long time. Like, I hate that. I think it's just so dumb. It's like, I don't know. To me, it devalues the title. Because if a title becomes so easily attainable, that's devaluing the title. And that really irks me, because that is something that we've said about like the US title. It was just bouncing around to the same people or whatever. It was so easy for people to win it. It wasn't like that. And I'm not saying everybody has to have a title reign like Gunther, obviously. However, when it's like it can be won this easily, I don't know. It just bothers me. And I don't know if that's like, I mean, no, I apparently I do know that that's just a stupid talking point, but I don't know.
Not to us here at No Nights Off, to the fickle pickles over on the tweet machine.
Well, because that was a tweet. I tweeted out something like, all the work that Gunther, all of the work that Gunther put in to build the title feels like a waste now. That was something that people then said I was being racist.
Yeah.
Well, one person said I was being racist, which I'm like, I'm being racist towards Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. I don't understand how that makes any sense. It's just, I think I'm old school in this. Like, I hate quick turnarounds. I hate hot potato title changes. I hate it. I always have, because I feel like when it's such a respected title, then it shouldn't be easy to win. You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about the hardcore championship that can be won at any time by anyone, you know? Like, I don't know. I just felt like this this just played into why I just didn't feel like it was the best decision for Jay to win at this point. Especially because we assume that he's going to get back involved with the bloodline storyline. And so that to me feels like there's going to be a quick reign for him, and I just feel like it's silly. Like you really did just give him the title so that he could mark off that he became a singles champion. That's really what we're doing here, because that's what's it's gonna look like, is like you just wanted to give him the Intercontinental title, give him a 2-3 month reign, and then that's it.
I I'll have to see. I am not going to go too in depth with how I feel, because, as I said, I don't really agree with it, but I like Jey Uso. So I'd
Well,
like to see where this goes.
I am not a fan of Jay, but like I'm not saying anything bad about him. It's just it could have been anybody else. Anybody else could have beaten Braun Breaker. I wouldn't have even loved it if it was Ilya Dragunov, and I want to see that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't like it just because of the hot, like I keep saying, the hot potato aspect of the title. I don't like it.
Mhm.
I was talking to my friend who used to work for ECW in the early days, and he shares that mindset with me. So that's why I said I feel like a lot of my brain is old school. Like I just don't. I sometimes my brain just does not jive with how things are nowadays, and so that's why like I took an issue with it. But I appreciate that some of you, like Damon, understand where I'm coming from. And I get it. I'm saying he couldn't lose another title shot. I get it. But I also don't feel like, I don't know. I don't think singles titles define somebody. So like, I don't know. Like Jey Uso was a Hall of Famer with his brother. He didn't need to win the Intercontinental title to like further home that. Like, no, he's going to go down as a legend. He's a tag team legend. You know what I mean? He's one of the only people that was able to pin Roman Reigns when he was champion. Like, those are things that people are going to remember. And especially if he only holds the title for a couple months, no one's going to remember that he had this title reign. You know, they're going to remember that he main evented WrestleMania. They're going to remember how many times he was a tag team champion with Jimmy. They're going to remember that they set the record for the longest run. You know what I mean? Like those are the things that people are going to remember. And that is more than a lot of people can say who get into wrestling, that are easily forgettable, you know? It was like even something that I saw, I think it was when Tori Wilson was talking to Chris Van Vliet, and she never won the women's championship or the Divas championship. And she was asked, like, is that something that bothers you? And she was like, well, no, because there's plenty of people who have won titles that people don't remember. But there aren't that many people that never won and people remember. And it's like, exactly, like you can have a good career without winning a title. I mean, one of my favorite all-time wrestlers obviously is Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. Never won the WWF championship. He was never the face of the company. He put the Intercontinental title, you know, just similarly like to Gunther, like he made that the title. But like no one sits back and says, oh wow, Razor Ramon sucked because he never became WWE champion. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
he's one of the greatest. So that's what I'm saying. Like, do I get why they put the title on him? Sure. Yeah. Jay is a huge merch seller and like everyone loves him. Well, not everybody, but you know, I get it, a business perspective, but it really does feel like it didn't need to happen, and it didn't need to happen off the back of Braun Breaker. I think that's my issue. I just feel like this did more harm than good to Braun, even if Braun is going to be good long term. Like I don't know. And especially if he just wins it right back, it just seems stupid to me. So
we shall have to see. We shall see.
Yeah.
Because this is only going to get more interesting.
Well, and I didn't say anything terrible about Jey Uso. So no one can come for me, please.
There we go.
But don't look forward to me live tweeting Raw, at least for the foreseeable future, because I don't want to deal with this type of stuff anymore. So sorry about it.
Well, let's go at the Fickle Pickle so we can have Sara live tweet Raw again, because that's nonsense. So help us out, peeps. And not only that, thank you for tuning into this edition of the Raw Rewind presented by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off.
Also, can we have one little celebration for me? Is I made it onto Sports Illustrated today,
guys. Go. It's big news.
I was
fucking
cited on Sports Illustrated today, guys. It was the first time I've ever been cited on Sports Illustrated that I know of. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because that was
shit.
exciting.
That's
It
how
was a
you
good
do
day.
it, Sarah. It's
Yeah.
great. Everyone cheer for Sarah in the comment section and hit that subscribe button as well and bell notification to know every time we go live and post a new video. We'll be back on Thursday for the No Nights Off Around the Wrestleverse show, where we talking all things wrestling. I have some lemons. I have one lemon specifically that I need to bring up on
Oh,
Thursday.
I do too.
And then obviously we have NXT going on right now.
Grayson
And
Waller.
the Grayson Waller effect, which I did see a little bit of spoiler where they're teasing the Theory babyface turn anytime
I am
soon.
so here for it.
So
Oh my
here
god.
for it. And we got, I don't think, Grand Slam's tomorrow. We got Grand Slam AEW tomorrow. So yeah, we'll be back on Thursday to talk all about that. And TNA shit too. I mean, the Hardys, Matt Hardy just turned 50 in his team with Melissa Slamovich taking on the System.
50.
That was a pretty good match. Yeah, he's 50 today. Happy birthday, Matt Hardy.
Damn.
Yeah, crazy.
So Jeff is like what, 48?
Yeah, Matt is the older one.
Damn. No, I know that. I was just guessing. Is he only like 2 years younger? I can't remember.
But Matt Hardy
That's
is 50
insane. And he looks better than Chris Jericho.
He really does.
And he's older
Matt
than
Hardy,
Chris Jericho.
He is. No, Matt Hardy looks very good for his age.
I
Matt
mean,
Hardy can still ball. He gets a lot of hate, but that man no ball.
I LOL at the way he gets up, but he's always gotten up. He's gotten up like that since I assume he fucked up his leg or hip or something.
Yeah,
but
when he did the leg drop off the cage. They said that in the Extreme Life of Hardy pod.
It just
Matt
makes
Hardy
me laugh the way he gets up.
Yeah, the Matt Hardy said that spot like fucked up his leg forever, basically.
Well, yeah. So
the leg drop of a cage and hit it. Like,
Golly.
insane. Go. Yeah, unbelievable. So we'll be talking all things wrestling on Thursday.
Are we going to record on Saturday?
Yes, please.
Okay.
God damn, after last Saturday, I need a fucking Oh man, I need some spiritual guidance.
We might want to talk about some of that we missed, that we didn't get to talk about from SmackDown.
Oh my god,
like the Cody.
Yes.
The Cody
Roman. We got
it.
it. Well, that will be definitely. I think we're gonna have like multiple. Yeah, because that was amazing. You know, other shit going on, but yes, we will be recording on Saturday. This week, I want to. So yeah, we'll be talking Thursday, Saturday this week, and I'm still doing GM mode, Sarah. I'm just letting you do the brew. I'm really getting into GM mode.
That's fine.
It's fucking awesome. I mean, it's so hard to go up against 3 other shows, but me and the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, are crushing it over on WCW Nitro. So I'll have an update on that as well on Thursday, along with other shit going on in the Wrestleverse. So thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. We'll see you Thursday. Peace.